So we just got through assignment 1, and now we immediately go into the next unit. Assignment 1 was creating concept settings. Assignment 2 is still compositing using other people's pixels, but this time it's to create a figurative element, something that can move, right? Something that can be animated. And it's going to be what we call a creature design concept. Creatures can be cute, they can be terrifying, they can be big, they can be small, they can be floating, swimming, walking, teleporting, whatever it might be. Unit 5 has our second question of the day of the semester. There's only 4 overall, so all of these matter. This question of the day has required reading. So this is the only required reading. It's chapter 2 in our free textbook. It's linked in the question of the day. It's also linked on the course outline. This is the chapter all about copyright and copyright protections, public domain, fair use, Creative Commons, all things we really need to understand to have a working and professional knowledge of how to use digital imaging and media. And then the question is, what responsibilities and rights does an artist have when using, compositing found images? The legal boundaries, artistic integrity, the right to communicate a personal vision. Definitely do this reading, it's not long, in order to inform your answer and understanding of this. And I have some other resources here, including a pretty long answer to a very common question I get, which is, can I sell fan art at San Japan or at different fairs? Is that breaking copyright law? And it is. And some bad things can happen. So you want to understand the legality so you don't get in trouble. Right. All right. I shouldn't have closed everything, but let's go back. So you'll find all of this information under unit modules and under unit 5, our creature concept. This is the same skills that we were using for assignment 1, but now we are using it to create creatures. And just like we made a planning sketch for our landscapes, now we need to do a planning sketch for our creature design, right? The reason is we can design a creature, but we need to understand its anatomy so that we can move it. And so it can feel like it has structure and not just a piece of wet pasta, right? So this is the planning sketch. And unlike the last project where we looked at some reference images first to inspire the planning sketch, here you're going to look at inspiration first, then do your sketch, and then based on your sketch, you're going to find your references. So what is some good inspiration for fantasy creatures? There's tons. You can go to Greek mythology. You can go to your favorite sci-fi series. You can look at cartoons, right? All the Looney Tunes are kind of fantasy creature designs. What I think is a really fun resource are Pokemon, right? There are over 1,000 Pokemon designs. And this is just a small Pokédex sampling here. But what's great about Pokemon designs, especially the earlier ones, is that they were very, very cleanly designed for silhouette. Silhouette is key when you're talking about concepts for creature designs and character designs. What does silhouette mean? If you squint really hard, where these just become like dark shapes on a white background, you can still tell what the creatures are just from those silhouette shapes, right? You want your creature to have a similar kind of clarity in its use of shape and silhouette. Now, if I'm looking at Popeye and I'm thinking of that kind of environment, a shipwreck environment, there might be some of these kind of inspirational shapes that make more sense to me than others. I don't really think of giant cobras when I think of Popeye. I might think of things like seals. I might think of things like seabirds. I might think of things like crabs, right? Or even like pollywogs. So maybe I can look at an image search for inspiration and look for something under Google Images, because this is just for inspiration. So like a pirate Pokemon. And it will show various fan art, various designs, but it might give me an idea for silhouettes. because Pokemon's been around a long time. And I should have maybe thought about this a little bit ahead of time. But I'm liking this. That's going to be an inspiration. Okay? Not the pirate costume, but the idea of a lizard Pokemon. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save that to the desktop really quick. This will be some inspiration I can work with for assignment 2. So now I'm going to search lizard Pokemon. I am not as well versed at Pokemon as some. There are lots, right? And I'm liking, I want ones that have strong silhouettes. Like that has a very strong silhouette. I'm going to open that in a new link. I like the color of this one. So maybe I'll combine some different things. I think this one's really cool, actually. I think this one's too fussy. I want it to kind of work with Popeye. I don't want it to walk on 2 legs. Yeah, so between these, I'm going to be able to do my planning sketch. Now this sketch is what's called a skeletal template. And this is actually the one I'm liking the most. And this might not even be an official Pokemon.
Yeah, that's not a real.
Yeah, so this is someone's fan art, but it follows those same principles where the silhouette's really, really clear for the anatomy. Now, just like I showed you before, I'm going to do the sketch digitally. So I'm going to create a new one, but you can just do it in your sketchbook. I'm going to make it 8 by 10 by 350. I'm going to call it Karl Assignment 2 Sketch. Popeye Lizard. Create. I'm going to use my tablet and pretend this is my sketchbook page. And this is what I want you to try to sketch. I want you to look at reference like these. I'm going to open them up in preview so I can see them a little bit bigger. And then I want you to try to draw its skeleton. So this is called skeletal template sketching. It's similar to basic shapes in the directions. It kind of explains it a little bit and shows you. But the biggest, most important shape here for this creature is the cranium. And that's almost always a circle or an oval, right? And then from that, you know which way the character is facing. It's got an eye right here. It's got kind of a beak that goes out this way. And now I'm already thinking, oh, it might be cool if that's some sort of like bird beak. So maybe that's like from a toucan, right? Even though it's got a lizard body. Then what attaches to the cranium, just like on us, and even on insects, even though they have exoskeletons, is some sort of spine, like a necklace that connects the rest of their body. So the spine goes from the back. I'm actually going to redraw that a little bit further down. From the back of their cranium, and then the next structure is going to be, like on a necklace, is the collarbone and rib cage. So I got to show that rib cage shape with the collarbone on top. The collarbone connects the shoulders, which I show with these circles. And then this creature has an arm coming out this way and an arm coming out this way. I don't like the foreshortening there, so I'm going to do it more believably here, where the elbows line up with the bottom of the rib cage, which is true of most vertebrates. And then it has little webbed feet. Now I might be thinking, what has webbed feet? Ducks, yes. Platypus, that could be a lot of fun. So I'm already thinking where I might find reference. So a platypus, a frog, these kind of things might be good for the feet, because they have similar feet at the back, but it doesn't mean I need to have the same reference for that. So after the rib cage, what's the next thing on the spine? The pelvis, right? So this has a pretty small pelvis with pelvis joints, and then it's got legs that go like this. Pretty simple, kind of like our back legs, or our legs. And I'm just going to widen them a little bit. Now, what could this part of the body be? That's really the most important part as you're finding reference, is you want all of this to be from one section. I call it the chassis. You know, it's the chest, the collarbone, the upper arms. And it can be from anything. It can be from a monkey. It can be from a gorilla. Might be fun to actually look for a monkey. But then this will be from somewhere else, right? And then the waist and the back legs, that can be actually from a lizard. So maybe from like a Gila monster. And maybe that flows through to the tail. Okay, I'm almost done because I need at least 5, right? So I can be inspired by some of these other things. Like there's a little fin here. Maybe I want to add that for a little emphasis. And maybe this is from a fish. And the eye, what kind of eye do I like? Neither of these eyes look like they're very believable in the animal kingdom. But maybe I want like a really big open eye, so I'm thinking maybe from a cow. All right, now this is the important thing. This is the last thing we'll do. You have your sketch. No matter how clumsily it's done, you're thinking about the angle of the body. So then when you go to Pixabay and you start collecting your resources, which you'll need for next class, you're going to search for animals and you're going to use this. So let's start with a cow, right? So I search for it. I'm going to do only photos. I'm going to do only authentic. And there are going to be lots of cows, lots of cow heads with cow eyes. But I'm going to pay attention to the ones like this that have the head angled at the right direction for the part I want, which is the cranium and the eye. Does that make sense? So then when I look for a toucan, so I'll download that, and you guys can start packing up. This is all in the video. This will be our first video for assignment 2. When I look for a toucan beak, not any toucan beak will do. I need a toucan beak that is at the right angle, right? So this is a little too much from the side, this is too much from the side, this is too much from the side. This one is getting closer. I'd like it to be a little bit more turned. This has potential because I can always flip it. And of course, there are other birds with beaks I might want to use other than toucans, right? But this one is pretty cool. All right. So the angle really, really matters a lot. Like this one, I think, is going to be the winner. So now, when I download that and it's highest, I'm paying attention to the angle of it and how that will relate. Now, I want to make the mouth open, right? And none of those toucan things were open. So I might need to find a reference of a bird with an open beak. And maybe I look for a pelican. Or a duck, you know? And so that's what I'll be looking for next. Kind of make sense? Yep. And remember, you can download more than you end up using, but that's what we're going to be learning how to composite with, informed by our sketch, next class. Have a full work day on assignment 2. All right, that's everything. Thank you very much. I'm going to look for a duck. Duck beak open. Ah, here we go. Peacock. And we're going to have fun putting now figurative characters together based on the anatomy of our sketch. Okay, so that will be it for today. I'm going to organize those all into my assignment